which says, he says, "For I deliver to you of first importance what I also received." So this is the quote, that Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures, i.e. Isaiah 53, and that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, then to the 12. Then he appeared to more than 500 brothers at one time, most of whom are still alive, although some have fallen asleep. So you've got this early quote, and that's from the 30s, so that's not tens of years later. And the resurrection is a kind of a key important fact. It's not something you're going to slip up on the details when quoting.
Okay. So, first about Isaiah 53. There is a scholar in the 1800s by the name of Doom. I don't remember his first name, D-U-H-M, who studied the book of Isaiah in detail and came up with the hypothesis that there are four what he calls servant songs in Isaiah. And Isaiah 52 and 53 is one of them, starting with 52 verse 13 all the way to 53 verse number 12. And when one reads the four songs together, one sees that, as he posits, that these are songs in which the suffering of the Israelite people are recounted. This is followed generally by, for example, George McKnight in the Anchor-Bible commentary on Isaiah's on the book of Isaiah. So what these scholars are saying is that this is not a prophecy about somebody coming later on to suffer like this. This is really the people of Israel suffering like this, but they become increasingly personalized. Rather than speak of them as a nation, as it starts out in the earlier songs, in the last of the songs it becomes a very personalized description, as though the Israelite nation is a person, an individual, he. So he will, and it's being given in such a way that one might now read it as a prophecy regarding Jesus. That's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation, because we're saying this equals that. So this was mentioned in Isaiah, and then Jesus fulfilled the same thing. When we read the life of Jesus, and especially how he died, we can see that that is similar to what is mentioned in the book of Isaiah. So we've just seen that, according to these scholars, Doom and others, the book of Isaiah was not about Jesus or about any future person, it was about the Israelite nation. The other side of that equation is that, again, we don't have a blow-by-blow account of what happened as they happened in the life and death of Jesus, but we have a later sort of theorizing about Jesus. What the writers did in the decades that followed Jesus was that they went back to the Old Testament to see what must have been a prediction about Jesus. They found something like Isaiah, and that spoke about suffering, and that's similar to what a person goes through at crucifixion. As Raymond Brown said, the writers of the Gospels did not have any direct knowledge of what transpired at the crucifixion scene. They only wrote in a way that represents what generally happens in the case of a crucified victim. But the other part that they did was that they read the Old Testament details and they applied that to Jesus. So they described the crucifixion of Jesus as though it is a fulfillment of that. Now you're saying, okay, so there's that, and there's this, and these two are equal, surprisingly so. It would have been surprisingly so if this was buried in a time capsule, then we wrote about the life of Jesus, we have that in writing, then we dig up the time capsule and we see, oh, that book is similar to what we just wrote. Surprisingly so. How could it be? Okay, this is a marvel from God. But if it's not buried in a time capsule, it's something that is being read in the churches. Luke's Gospel has it that Jesus went and opened the scroll of Isaiah and read it. So now, when this is public knowledge, naturally, when people wrote the story about the life and death of Jesus, they wrote it with that full knowledge in mind, and then they represented the death of Jesus as already being in fulfillment of that. So they already drew that conclusion before they wrote it, and then they wrote it to justify that conclusion. So now we cannot go now and say, oh, the two match each other, and this is surprisingly so. It's nothing surprising about it. They match each other because the writers deliberately wrote the text in that particular way. So I don't think that this is a prophecy regarding Jesus, and it is now known that the writers wrote their Gospels with that sort of text in mind. You want to bring it to a definite close now?
I think we should.
Okay, sure. And if anyone has any further questions, I'm here for a few minutes, so talk to me informally. Thank you.
We would like to thank everybody And before asking for the attention, I would like to thank the Shabir Ally for his lectures.
Here, I'm giving the mic now that you're doing that.
I would like to thank him for coming for our lectures, and we have a small present for him, inshallah ta'ala. And I would like to call the president of the Islamic Society, Abdul Haq, to give it to him on behalf of the Islamic Society and on behalf of the Muslim community in Guildford.
I just want to also thank the Sheikh. I think you will all agree with me that the Sheikh being with us has made a big difference to the Islamic Awareness Week. And hopefully, inshallah, we will see you again,
Since it's time for getting teary-eyed, I may as well say that it's been really fun for me to be here as well. I really enjoyed my stay. I said that at the beginning of the talk, and in closing, I have to say that whatever good we have, this is from God, and whatever evils and mistakes, this is from ourselves and from the shaitan. I ask you as I'm leaving to forgive me for any faults or mistakes, and I do hope that we'll see each other again, inshallah, if not in this life, then in the life hereafter with God forever. But I do hope that it will be soon, again in this life, right here in Guildford.
The balance to try and come down to leave enough space for